afternoon, students. Sorry for the rocky start today. Canvas changed from Tuesday, and my ability to focus and become the active speaker was not available to me today. I used 3 different computers, 2 different Wi-Fi sources. So here we are anyway. I wanted to talk to you about what your homework is and why are we doing this? What is the reasoning behind this? And it's going to go back to when we talked about the fact that after the age of 10, we become left brain dominant. So I briefly touched on the fact that the left brain does not consider drawing exercises as critical to your survival. The pencil isn't going to jump up off the page and go through your eye into your brain and kill you. So it doesn't want to do it. And it has had full control of your life, literally, the first crack at everything since you were 10. So some of these first few exercises can be uncomfortable. The brain actually can give you discomfort because what we're doing is we're focusing, taking control away from the left brain and we're moving into areas of spatial development, expression, emotional expression, how to look at things in a way that artists need to look at things, not left brain symbol systems that look like cartoons, So you have 4 different assignments. Your contour drawing or gesture drawing assignments, you have multiple drawings due. So make sure you see which are due. There may be some confusion. I'll pull up the pages as we go through. So the first one is called analog drawing, and you have this also on your assignment. And you can just take a piece of paper and subdivide it into 8 boxes. You don't have to use the one that's in there, which was just a scanned one. And so I'm going to read the instructions. Did you know that all human beings share image interpretation in common? Cave drawings and paintings contain symbols that many of us use today, and contemporary humans are able to interpret their meaning. In this exercise, draw or print out the grid document and draw directly on it in pencil. I am not requiring the second and third assignments, only this first one, the actual analog drawing. And what I want to talk to you about is the words abstract and non-objective. The word abstract is misconstrued or misunderstood in our society as being abstract expressionism. In other words, paintings where there's a random and there's, people through paint and there's no imagery at all. That's called abstract in our general culture. But in art, the term abstract actually means you start out with a real object, a human face, then you simplify, distort, you painted green like Matisse did, you put both eyes on one side like Picasso did, but you started with a real object. So we're not to use abstractions. In other words, your drawings are not to include anything like a sun or a rainbow or animals, anything like that. What we're doing is non-objective. That means no objects. So what I want you to do is scribble, look at the word, and scribble, use the side of your pencil, you can scribble, you can shade, you can direct, whatever is, and it's pretty instantaneous, and I think you'll be surprised at how it flows out. So you have the boxes: joy, anger, human energy or power, peacefulness, illness, femininity, And the last box is depression. I don't know. Do we have it here? Yes, it is on there. And then your choice. So your choice can be anything. That was in my computer. You know, make up one if you're feeling one, or you can just leave that one blank. So non-objective, you learned a new term. No objects, they're based in no objects. Just scribbles, just whatever comes, let it flow out. And that's what I want from you on that assignment. So it says, drawing on intuition, each section of your paper contains a word. In each section, make a drawing that represents to you what the word stands for. You can use lines or shapes or shading. Just don't draw any pictures, hearts, so forth. Think back to the last time you experienced this feeling. Imagine that you can feel the emotion again flowing from deep inside down your arm and into the pencil. There is no right or wrong way to do this. Okay. So I believe that your next assignments, let's look here, is gesture drawing. So let's talk about gesture drawing. The left brain wants to quickly identify an object. It has a symbol for the whole object. So if it's a human being, it's a very simple, like maybe stick figure or outline of the being. It's a stationary image. It doesn't contain any expression. So in other words, it would be very simple and not express emotion or anything like that. But artists need to express emotion in what their artwork says. And the other day I showed you this, and I said, is this line any different from this line? And you told me yes. And so this fancy expressive one is the one we're going to focus on now. So let's read your handout. A good drawing does not just accurately represent something, it's infused with the poetry of the artist's expression. Your personality, who you are, comes out in your art. It flows out pretty freely because it's a voice. It's not something you can contaminate or adjust or change. It's your voice and it flows out. And that's what we're going to be focusing on. Just as words are expressive, lines can be expressive. They can be thick or thin, fast or slow, fluid or wavy or straight. In learning to draw, both intense and furious action and calm and determined action over a long period of time are needed for balance. In quick studies, you learn the action, life, or expression of the model. Look past the surface details to the essence or main movement of the model. Use long, sweeping lines. Keep the line moving over and through the drawing. Start with the aspect of the overall form which you feel is the most expressive. Swing your arm to follow the movement. Gesture drawing is like scribbling and establishes a sense of action. In gesture drawing, we draw not what the thing is, but what it's doing. We're capturing something very quickly. The left brain's not happy with that. I want to talk to you about the difference between using a writing implement for words and using a writing implement for art. So when you pick up your pen or pencil, you've probably used that in the same way. You've been holding it since you were probably 2 or 3 years old. And so when you pick it up, you hold it like this, as though you're going to write your name, whatever. So what happens is your brain actually forms neural grooves for behaviors that you repeat over and over, or exercise that you repeat over and over, and it just triggers an instant connection there. Well, we want to break that because this implement is connected to the left brain, the linear part that has language and writes words. So I want to encourage you to, when you can this semester, hold your pencil like this. I often do my sketching with the tip of my pencil lightly and do shading with the side of it, holding it like this. In other words, so I'm using it this way on my paper. Here's your writing way. Here's your drawing way. All right. So let's see what your assignment. All right. So you are to do 5 gesture drawings in each of the following categories: animals, real or imagined. In other words, if your cat's sitting on the floor or whatever, draw that. Kitchen utensils, trees, a person. So 5 gesture drawings of each. Now, if you're drawing a person, I'll give you how I would approach. And you probably don't know this, but professional artists get together with non-professional artists, hire a model, and they all draw the model. And very often they will have 10 minutes at least of gesture drawings, just to kind of get the brain free of the left brain control and so forth and so on. So if I were drawing a human being, my way is, okay, so you're only going to have 15 seconds. Right, we're only taking 15 seconds per drawing, so that's 20 drawings. That's however many seconds. It's not too many minutes. If I were drawing a human being, I would start probably with the head, come to the shoulders, quickly come to the shoulders, bring the body down, the legs. If you make ovals, you can move faster. I'm going to come back up to the arms. One's up there and one's down. And I think that's probably about 15 seconds. So it's a scribbling process. It's not slowly drawing, and coming down and putting an arm and 5 fingers. You've got 15 seconds, so time yourself. So let's see, what else? So let me say I've got my cat, and I want to draw my cat. So I've got 15 seconds. So let's see, I'm going to start with the body. And he's laying down, so his tail's doing that. It's coming over that way. His legs are down. Let's see. His head is down, laying between his front paws. He's got stripes. I didn't time myself, but that's maybe not even 15 seconds. So this is what I want from you: a scribble drawing, a kitchen utensil. What is it? An ice cream scoop. And I might want to actually look at one while I'm doing it, get some out and do it, because I don't really remember what they look like now as I'm sitting here. You probably would know what that was. Okay, so 5 drawings, animals, real or imagined. You can make them up or imagine an elephant. 5 kitchen utensils, 5 trees, and person. So 5-person, it says a person, but I want 5. It could be the same person or it could be an imaginary person, but I want 5 of each of those. You can draw these, not full page. What I'm saying is you can draw a whole set on one page, turn the page, draw the next set on one page, and so on. It's a little bit on two sides of the bound sketch pad. You can ignore that part. I just want 20 drawings from you. If you can send me pictures of not individual drawings, if you could send me a picture, like say if you have 5 drawings on one page, that's easier for me to look at, because Canvas loads each image separately, and then it takes a while for the image to open up. So you can imagine I've got 20 drawings from 60 students. That's, help me out a little bit, okay? All right. So that's your next set. That's just your drawings. So all these are under your syllabus section. And you can open them there. Your screen and mine are different. So again, there has been some confusion. Canvas has changed how it acts. It may have things in your lab section, but I have not even opened or published the lab section. So hopefully your lecture section contains everything and is clarified now and correct. That's what I'm hoping. I think it is. So contour drawing blind and modified. That's this page. Now this was somebody sitting on a chair, but I didn't have room, so it's kind of looks a little bit suggestive that way, but that was my photo editing lack of skills. Okay, so let's talk about this. Because the right brain needs to be turned on in order for us to see in a way needed to draw accurately, we will begin our semester by focusing on techniques and exercises which will help us to access the right mode. One of the ways we can do this is to draw upside down. It's amazing what can come of that, but we're going to skip over that and go to exercise 2, blind contour drawing. Again, you can be using any paper. If your paper hasn't arrived from Amazon or wherever, you can use typing paper or printer paper. But once we start drawing the ball, you need to have bristle for the ball. I will be loading your current assignments. You should have them loaded by the beginning of next week for the next set of assignments. Sometimes a week we'll have a single assignment. So let's read about blind contour drawing. This exercise helps us to bypass the simple system of the left mode. Okay, remember, trying to bypass, kind of force it, back it out the door. It doesn't always like it, wants to come back in. We got to back it back out. Okay. Arrange your left hand. I'm assuming you're right-handed. If you're not, just do the reverse. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to arrange my left hand. Arrange your left hand in a complex position. Turn your body to the left, completely away from your drawing paper. I'm not looking at my drawing. Now, if you find that you are looking at your drawing, I want you to take a piece of scratch paper, printer paper, whatever it is, poke a hole in the middle with your pencil, and you might need to do this with your modified contour, and actually do this, so you are not allowed to look at your drawing, okay? So I can trust myself with this exercise, the hand exercise. focus your eye at some point along the edge or contour of your hand. Touch the model with your eyes. Now, in this drawing, you touch the paper with your pencil, and it stays on the paper the whole time. It's a single long line. You never lift it and move it to put a feature somewhere else. If you need to go somewhere else, you move your pencil there and then come back. So it's not going to look realistic. That's not the point of this. The point is we're forcing the left brain out of our visual expression. Okay? All right, so I'm going to start at my wrist down here. From my point of view, and I'm not going to look. Where's my thumb? Put my thumbnail in. Oh, I got wrinkles on the knuckle there. Okay, now I'm going up the hand, up towards my pointer finger. There's the joints where it hits the hand. And I'm looking at the second finger, my middle finger. And here's my ring finger. Now my ring finger's coming towards me, so it's foreshortened. I'm not really seeing the length of it. And so is my little finger. It's coming towards me. So I don't see a lot of it. It looks like a short little lump. Okay, here's my, I've got those, what do you call those, lifelines or whatever they are across your hand. Okay. Well, I can kind of see fingers and a thumb-ish. But it doesn't look like a real finger. I mean, a real hand. And that's the point. We're trying to get away from the symbol system of the left for a hand. Because a hand is much more complicated than a symbol cartoon of a hand, which looks kind of like a glove, very simplified. And we're trying to get into more of the right brain. Now, there's discomfort in this, and that's fine. That's just your left brain telling you, hey, get out of there. That's not important. You're fooling around with your life. Okay. So your assignments are two. The first one is that I want your hand drawing, and that is in blind contour. In other words, I never looked at the page. I think I could prove it if I looked at the video. I really don't think I did. And you're not supposed to. And then the next one is called modified contour. In modified contour, you are mostly not looking at the paper. But once in a while, you're allowed to glance down. But it's still a contour drawing, and it's still a single line from start to finish, so that it is a human face. So that if you need to, you're drawing from here and you did your ear and you need to go in here, you don't pick up your pencil and draw an eyebrow and pick up your pencil and draw the eye. You have to come over, it's all connected. You have to, does that make sense? And I can tell the difference between a contour drawing that's a modified blind contour, in other words, parts of it are blind contour, and people just drawing a face. It's not the same thing. Sorry, my ears are popping because of the fire. So if this is the one that I usually have the students do this because it's so darn tempting. So you can draw and then occasionally look to see where you are. And if you need to come across and correct yourself, remember your pencil still stays on the page. And so in other words, you don't lift your pencil up and put it someplace else. Okay. So modified contour drawing is like blind contour drawing, except you allow yourself to glance at the drawing at intervals for the purpose of noting relationships of size, lengths, angles, to monitor line, direction, proportion, etc. Remember, it's the slow, methodical pace of drawing here that switches on the R mode. So, in other words, the left brain wants to quickly identify an object. It does not like us, slowly going up the cracks and wrinkles and thinking of, going over there really slow. It doesn't want to do that because it's not important. So you will have a little bit of discord maybe. In my experience, it makes me a little bit tired, especially when we're first doing this. We will have challenges throughout the semester, but we won't be, hitting the left brain like we are today. Okay, so your assignments are 2 drawings. One is the blind contour of your hand, and the second is the modified contour drawing. So let's go to your next assignment. And that is wrap gesture. Okay, so if you remember being a child and your drawings, and the brain of a child develops at the same pace no matter where they are in the world. And so if you had a child draw in different countries, their drawings would be very similar. And they're using outline drawings. Remember, you drew a little house, and then, I accidentally put mine in perspective. Sorry. You had a house. I think there was a sun that had rays coming down, outline, and then there was, people here in the front. That was you, and then your sister and your mom and dad, and it was usually a stick figure maybe, with multiple fingers, not 5, maybe 8. Legs and big shoes. So basically, outline, drawings, stick figures, looking at the object from a frontal point of view only. But artists must remember that an object does not exist just from one point of view. We need to remember that this goes back and continues back. If we're drawing an arm, we have to remember that it's curved and that it actually, goes all the way around. It's 3-dimensional. It's difficult to think this way because we've never done it. But we need to begin to think about it because in art, we must place objects in space. So we must, in our imagination, be able to create the imaginary space so that the next object in our still life or whatever it is has imaginary space to exist in also. So it's not a series of flat paper dolls all lined up. We have objects in the front, we have objects in midground, we might have objects in foreground. So in all those places, we must be thinking of the object as 3-dimensional. And so this is an exercise that's going to talk about that. And again, it's not something our left brain wants us to do. This is an actual CAT scan of somebody laying in the... See how the lines, it divides the body up in sections? So that's what we're looking at. There's the human. But see how the lines are curved? So over the breast, you get lines that are curved more, arms, lines. And sometimes we'll do a cross contour. In other words, we're only looking at it from the front. But the wrap gesture is something we're going to do as our homework. And I think it's very successful to kind of force your brain there. I want to grab a bottle from my still life cupboard here. Where is it? It's not there. Maybe I can't find it right now. Here it is. So how do we draw an object? Think about an object as three-dimensional. This is a olive oil bottle. It's square. It tapers a little from top to bottom. That's not just from distortion. It is a little wider on the top. So what happens to it as it comes down? I don't think I'm going to be able to hold it in a position and draw the exact same thing. But so what I want to do here is I want to be thinking about what the surface is doing and then what that surface does and changes as it turns the corner, turns another corner, and comes back to where I am. Oh, here, I do have some samples of the contour faces, and I want to show you. So in other words, they don't look, like a beautiful shaded drawing, but they're fun and they have a lot of energy. We do this in class, we draw each other. I'll have the glasses on that one. So they look like people, but they're not, shaded drawings. Okay. All right, so back to the bottle. So this is a square bottle, so rather than just draw it square front, I'm going to turn it so that my drawing is going to have to include the turns. This takes a lot of concentration. Your homework assignment isn't quite as terrifying as this. I'll see how I do. So I'm going to start, of course, at the top and just go down. So for a while, I'm getting, and it's not going to look like a real object, believe me. You can take as long as you want if you want to get perfect edges, but my students have nicknamed me in my jewelry teaching. I teach all the metal arts. They call my technique a starving cheetah technique. I'm not the most patient person. I like to do things fast. I think fast and talk fast. Okay, so my drawing so far, I've got this. The bottle's starting to widen a little bit as it goes down towards that shoulder. You're going to be seeing it upside down. I'm sorry. So I'm coming down a little bit. It's widening at the shoulders. It's still kind of round, but now it's starting to hint that, so it's starting to hint that it's getting square. So I'm going in the front, and then I'm imagining the shapes as I'm going towards the back. When you do your drawing, I would like you to probably draw your lines no more than much than 1/4 of an inch apart. This is making me seasick. Okay. I don't know if can you see that I'm drawing a square bottle? Can you see that I'm trying to draw a square bottle? Let's put it that way. So I continued until I got to the end. But I'm trying to think of this as three-dimensional, what's happening in the back, and so forth and so on. Okay, so that's called wrap gesture. But what I want you to do for your homework, and this is really, it's more fun and it works out if you've got really large paper, like 18 by 24 paper. So what I want you to do is to do a wrap gesture of a whole animal. Could be your cat. You know, I could start my cat. I could start with his tail. I can lightly sketch if I want, just to, keep the features in the right places. I could lightly, you can barely see that, I'm just lightly, but I'm gonna start with the tail here. So I know it's round. My cat has a really bony tip that's kind of crinkety. So here I'm drawing a wrap gesture of his tail. I'm just gonna get into his body eventually. He's got a long tail, so that would take me a while. I've sketched it, so here's the back of him that comes up, there's his head. So let's look at some student samples. So it's an animal. So this is like the tail, that's an animal's trunk. And then the elephant tusks are different, and then it gets bigger and becomes the head. Here's the ear. The legs are kind of like the tail, you're wrapping the legs. Look how big the body is. Got a little tiny tail at the end and got the hind legs. So this is called wrap gesture. We're drawing not only what's in the front, we're drawing the object all the way around, okay? I love this one. I get anything with long arms, I just love. I think this is just beautiful, and it really goes to show that something very simple can be lovely. And beauty, actually we're hardwired for beauty. Our body responds to beauty, and so the gracefulness in this simple wrap gesture drawing makes me feel good, and probably makes you feel good, even though if I met it underwater I might not feel as good. I think this is kind of beautiful. So it forces you to think of an object as three-dimensional. So these are homework assignments Each one of the 4 assignments is 10 points. If you have any questions about the assignment, please email me. If you ever have a question about a drawing, I need the drawing in your initial email or I won't respond, because otherwise it's back and forth. I didn't get an image, send me an image, and then you send me another email without an image, and we're 5 emails and I still haven't seen the image. So whenever you have any kind of a question about a drawing you're working on, send me that image. You can do it with your phone, whatever, just send it, include it in the email. If you send it to Canvas, there's a little letter icon for you there. That works, and that will also announce it to me in my regular email. So all of these homework assignments are due on the 31st. That's your next class. And then during the next class, we're going to be going forward and doing, progressing forward towards some of the skills, the actual technical skills you're going to need. We have a little assignment coming up where you're going to be looking at drawings from all over the world, from different cultures, from different time periods, Russia and Asia and Western Europe and Australia, and just the different ways lines are used. And we're going to take part of a drawing and draw it to our best of our ability. You're not professional artists, and I don't expect that as an outcome. I just want to show you that every single part of the world expresses their culture, their personality, their individuality through art. Whether they're a famous artist or a non-famous artist, they create beauty, and it's from every culture. Initially, all prehistoric images were very similar around the world. We're hardwired for some of those images. They're still important to us. They still have meaning. And we'll be experiencing some of that in that first assignment, the analog assignment. So I'm going to let you go. Again, hopefully by next week, I'll talk to IT and have them help me, but there was no help. I had an assistant who's very tech savvy. We had 4 computers working on trying to get me be able to demo for you today, and we were unable to do so. So hopefully this will work, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Bye.